Welcome back. My name is Mark Anthony Dubose Jr. And I was born July 4th, 1986. I'm going to say thank you for tuning in. Today, I'm talking about these dogs in a way that, not just dogs, but these dogs and something that I've just come to realize, reading through some of the older comments on a lot of my videos just really gets me thinking like, man, we as a people is confused, man. We're confused as a people. And I hope to be able to bring some people out of that confusion today with what it is that I'm about to say. Because there's something fascinating about everything that we have on this land is we don't know anything. We're born and we pretty much don't know anything. We have to be taught how to do everything. It's an interesting thing about most animals, but not all animals, but most are that way as well. Something has to teach that something how to be able to do something. They don't just automatically know how to do it. And then there's some people that are just better at certain things than other things. And that's why certain people get into doing what it is that they do. Why am I not a history teacher? Because I don't care less about history, but worrying about getting someone else to understand what history is all about. I'm going to stumble and fumble you. I'm going to set you up for absolute failure in reality because I'm not motivated. I'm not interested in it. I don't really care about it. And that's something that is going to distinguish where your results are going to be from your understanding from getting it. For me, I don't know what it is, but I like math. But I'm still not a math teacher because I'm not really inspired enough to want to do that. And something that I really like it because every teacher I've had since I've ever learned anything about math, except one in some college stuff I did, I enjoyed every single one of them. They made it exciting. They made me see the beauty behind it, like the reasons why I should even care about it. Why do I need to worry about these letters and these numbers and mix it and doing this and all these equations? Just the neatness behind it. They saw it because I saw how much they enjoyed it. And they enjoyed it so much that it rubbed off on me. And that's something that I want to talk about when it comes down to really just understanding who it is that we're listening to with what it is that we're doing. There's some people that are doing things just because. Just because. They're signed up and they're in it because they saw dollar signs. They're like, I know I can make money doing this, but you don't actually enjoy it. That's the problem that a lot of people stumble into, especially. This is the new stuff today, definitely, compared to how things used to be, for a fact. We used to work for companies and we used to retire there. We'd start at the age of 18 and 20 and we wouldn't leave until we were 65 years old. We'd work 45 years at a company. That was like normal, beyond normal. But today, it's hard for anyone to stay anywhere for what, 3 years, 2 years, 3 months? Because you get into it and it's just like, the word I want to use there is maybe not the proper word, but it makes sense in reality because of how much abundance we actually do have on these lands. We do not only have to work in a factory, even though those jobs could provide us something if we could just understand that share the wealth, people, is how we would maybe get it a little bit better than where we are today. But what starts to happen is you're doing it because of the money aspect of it, as opposed to you actually love it, you actually enjoy, you actually care about what it is that you're doing. So you go to work and you're just like, I'm just here. I'm a body. I'm just something standing here. As opposed to your coworker, you can kind of get irritated with someone. That's just, they're like happy-go-lucky. You're like, dude, we're doing the same work. How are you so happy? Because that is actually something that they desire, that they're looking at in a way of like, I'm going to be able to use this as a stepping stone to get to where I want to next. And you're there just because you got to eat. You got to eat. You're not going to be able to make it anywhere if you don't do this. And that's something that gets suspicious and weird to me when it comes down to the concept of wanting to actually like help human beings, help animals, help stuff, as opposed to it being something to just make something. Like this tripod that the camera is on. That's, you can not like your work and still put these tripods together. But there's something different about, I don't even want to say not like your work, but not really, really be inspired, be enjoyed, be like just happy and just expressive about with working with animals, with working with people that are like having addictions and having problems and trying to get them through that. If you're just doing that in a way that I want to make money, in reality, to me personally, just how I see the world, I can see that. I can tell. You're not invested in what's going to be the best here. You're invested in how can I make the most to be able to get your own self in a better place. And this goes on across the board, a lot of different industries. That's why certain people, you get help from certain coaches and certain trainers and certain things because they enjoy what they do. And all that's going to rub off onto you. You're going to say like, wow, that person really, really, really likes, working out. I like running and doing that, but I'm not here to like, I'm not going to say now, but just today in my life, I'm not at the stage where I'm like, I want to coach someone how to get better at running. I just run. I literally just throw some shoes on and I just get going. I don't have a plan. I just do it. I make it happen. That's probably why I could do it every single day and I don't have issues because I don't care. I'm not here to win the Olympic medals. I'm just here to just run. I just run. That's all that I do. But to the next person, you're more of like, how do I like get a faster time in a 5K, a 10K, a marathon? And I'm just like, I don't care what I run today. I don't care if it's faster than last year or not. More likely it would be, but maybe it's not. So I'm not going to be the person that's like, you're going to be inspired to like want to get better when I just do. Whereas something that's interesting with me that I've come to realize just being on this farmland is something that I am extremely inspired about is working with these animals. And that's why in reality, it's really simple for me to just keep talking about it every single day. As much as maybe I don't want to only specifically talk about this one animal, the dog, because I really like to talk about the other ones, the cows, the donkey, the everything. I like them all. But there's something that I realize that a lot of people are struggling with just this dog, because we're watching in pain and looking at people that are in this in a sense that they want to get paid. They don't care about your I want to use these words, but it may not be the correct way of saying it, especially from saying man to man. But I work not only with men, but I work with women, so I can't just come at the approach of suck it up, shut up, and it'll be okay. And it's something that unfortunately is like unfortunately, what I just see when I'm watching most training comes to: suck it up, shut up. I don't care how you feel. Let's get it done. And that's for me where I don't really agree with that, because I look at the animal in a completely different way. It's how can I make that animal be able to get into a better place, a place that they are also going to enjoy. It's not only just me, it's about the partnership of what we're doing here. And it's something that unfortunately we don't get from a lot of people. We get just slap this collar, slap this, do this, make this, push this, do that, do this, and the dog's gonna be good. Not caring at all about like the whole overall process here, the whole overall being here, the whole how can I even communicate to you how to get what it is you're looking for. And that's the part that I believe is tricky, because it's tricky in a way that it forces you to have to. This is the part where I get it, but maybe older generations don't quite understand what I'm saying right now. It's get a job and do it and shut up and suck it up and make it happen. And a lot of times we get into things because we could be like, say, somewhat good at it in the beginning. Someone said to me at one point in my life, "Wow, you got a pretty nice looking dog. Maybe you should do some more with that. Wow, you're pretty good at working with these other animals as well. Maybe you should like get further into doing something with that." And then I could have got into that because someone showed me and I started to research. I got on the Google and I'm like, wow, these people make this type of money, and I get into it in a way of I'm just doing it because someone said I was good. But here's the main kicker of the problem that I see when it comes down to especially service-based businesses. Just because you're good at something doesn't mean that you can train someone else, coach someone else to do what it is that you do. That's where, like, again, building a tripod, yeah, you can show someone how to build that. But as far as doing something that you're doing all day to be able to get someone else some help, that's something that not everybody has that skill. That's why it's fascinating to read some of the comments that I get, because there's people that are always like, what are you talking about, dude? Because I already know this. I can already do this. This is the part where it's like, great, you can do that for yourself. But can you show someone else how to get what it is that you're doing? That's where the complications really start to come in, especially when it comes down to worrying about relationships and emotional things, and not just a pole that you're putting something together, not just building a fence, not just even building a house, not just doing these things. That stuff is, you have to know how to be able to explain all the little things to someone to be able to get a similar result to what it is that you're doing. And that's the part that I think a lot of people are stumbling and fumbling with, because you're able to do something, but you're not able to actually show someone all the different things to be able to get them to be able to get in a good place. And what starts to happen is, if you don't see the said results that you're looking for because of what you do behind closed doors, behind your house with someone else, you start to get irritated and you start to get frustrated. And then you start to get irritated, frustrated. And what do you think the first thing realizes that? Especially just being in the stuff that I work with, these dogs. These dogs feed off of that instantly. And that's why in most cases, things just aren't getting better and better and better. They're just getting, best case scenario, staying the same. But most case scenario, it's getting worse and worse. It's getting worse to the point you're just like, what the heck is going on here? Why is it looking like this? Their stuff looks good, but my stuff is a mess. And that was the biggest part with me, that I had to make sure of being able to get someone else to be able to replicate what it is that I do. Because what it is that I do, straight up, before dog training school, I knew it. I'm actually officially today, like, forgetting most of that stuff. Because I realized before I started understanding the whole dog training community things that they do to get a said well-trained dog, I realized I already had something really nice. That's why I got into dog training. And I wasn't doing any of that stuff. I didn't do any of it. Like today, I do things that I'm hesitant about, but it's kind of cool to be able to say down to the dog and the dog will lay down. I guess it's kind of cool to be able to have that one little trick in there to just really just something neat. So I have them all lay down before we go outside and have them lay down before, just do certain things. I guess there's one added that I do that I never used to do, but it's something that I realized the simple little things that I was doing all day, every day was able to give me something really, really nice. And that's the part with me. It's like I'm able to coach other people how to do that exact same thing because it comes down to doing some, what I want to say is very simple techniques, very simple things. And I'm realizing the more simplistic that I keep getting it, the more people are actually getting the dog that you've been desiring your whole life. You're getting away from this chaos and this maddening, and you're getting into something different. That's why for me, the number one thing that I really am looking at is, unfortunately, I'm going to say this, but it just is what it is. Unfortunately, at first, someone's calling me, my dog is biting me, my dog is this, my dog is jumping, is running, is acting a fool. I don't care about the human. I don't know why. I understand, like, I'm here on this planet, and I will still state this, and I understand this, but at first, I'm going to say, when it just comes down to dogs, I don't care about you. And that might sound messed up, but I care about the dog. Because if I cared about you, I might do some things, because this is the part where I had to change what I do in reality to get more results. Because if I care about you, I would come in and do some savageness to this dog to control it down, to beat it down, and make it get into submission, to make it please you in that moment. But that's not what I'm about. And that's what I realized doesn't give real results. And that was the part with me that's like, maybe that works for you. There's so many trainers out here that y'all put excessive pressure and your dogs look pretty good. But to the next person, it's not working. Why? To the next person, giving them treats all day, it's not working. But someone else, giving them treats all day and the dog is performing, it's looking really good. And that's the part with me that would always confuse me. So the main thing that I've realized is I care about the dog up front, to get the dog to be able to get what I'm going to say is in a better place. Understanding that the dog has needs and the dog has wants and desires and the dog has, I want to say they have emotions. And it's more of a in that moment type stance of what's going on. But it's something that we have to pay attention to be able to get the dog to be able to get in a better place. And then once that is good, now we can work on you to get you to start to be able to relax and calm down. Because there's one thing that just goes on that I'm still just, I don't want to say 100%, but just 100% of the new stuff that I've been doing and working and going to people's houses and seeing, we are disrespecting these dogs. And that's why they are acting a fool. That's why they're acting crazy, because we are doing, depending on how crazy it is to you and how irritated and how mad you are, that's what you're putting on the dog. And once we start to understand that, and we start to lay off on the dog, we start to give the dog some space if it needs it, we start to give the dog what it needs when it needs it, we start to see a lot of these issues start to disappear. But that doesn't say fix the human. That fixes the dog up front, because we got to get the dog to understand that we're not here to hurt it. And so I have to do everything in my power to put the human on the back burner up front, because that's the only way that I'm able to just really make sure that we're going to get what I want to say is long-term results, long-term something to get done, something to actually stick, something to make happen. Because when you're looking at it that way, you're looking at it in a way that I have to, this is the part where it's confusing. Because when you come in and you try to help the human and do whatever to the dog, you're putting language out there that the dog needs to change and I'm good to go. And that's not what animal training represents. It represents there's something wrong with what I'm doing, and the dog is going to be able to get better once I fix what I'm doing wrong. That's the part that I think a lot of people are failing at, because there's so many people that are like, oh, my dogs are good. I don't know what you're talking about. I don't know what's going on here. It's like, great. You're doing what you're doing and you're able to get what you're able to get. But trying to communicate that to somebody else, that's where most people right now are struggling when it comes down to dog training, because we're coming in instantly. As many of these trainers, oh man, I could watch so many of them that their video starts off with, we got to give the dog exercise. We got to make sure the dog's eating good. Is the dog having any health problems? And they're going through all these lists. It's like, yeah, we should be checking on this first. But in 10 seconds, the first thing they do is just start choking on the dog, start doing something to the dog, as opposed to realizing, maybe we should just like because this is something that, I try to put my couple days of understand leash management skills course together. Even before, when I would use the leash in a very inappropriate way, I was trying to convince someone to use his let's just say it like that, his venue to be able to host these things, and asked him to help me. I was like, day one, I don't want no dogs around. He's like, that's not going to swing. How are you going to get the dogs better if the dogs aren't there for you to be able to work the dogs? So I'm like, the last thing I need to do is work with the dog first. I need to work with the human being first, because I'm just straight up. The problem with the dog is us. It's not the dog, it's us. Once we get better habits and we start to understand what we're doing here, we're going to see pretty much everything around us start to get better. And that's unfortunately what dog training just isn't represented anymore. It's like the dog's the problem. Something wrong with that thing. That thing's crazy. That thing's wild. That thing's maddening. That thing is no good. That thing needs to be fixed. That thing needs to be corrected. That thing needs to be punished. That thing needs to be rewarded. That thing needs something. But I'm good though, but that thing needs something. That's what it represents. As opposed to, no, the one thing that needs to be fixed is you. You need to look at things differently. You need to do things differently. You need to see your dog differently. You need to understand your dog differently. You need to know what your dog is all about. It's something that's fascinating with pretty much all of mine, that I am heavily, before I even get the dog, I'm heavily researching what the heck is this thing? Because for whatever reason, not really knowing much about animals, I knew that there's a difference here. Like chickens even, my goodness. I've got meat birds running around. I've got, I used to have other hybrid egg layers running around. I've got what do you call the heritage breed ones that are good for both or a dual purpose. They're all different breeds. So I had to study and research which breed is going to be able to do and what does it do. I still to today, I watch videos on Dalmatians, what the foundation of where Dalmatians come from. I watch videos on Border Collies. I watch videos on Great Pyrenees. I watch videos on German Shepherds. I watch these videos all the time still to today, because there's like an abundance of them. So I just want to see what someone else has to say about this dog. There's so many people that have different understandings of Dalmatians, and I'm just like, let me just, what are y'all talking about here? Ophi, what are y'all talking about here? And I want to, come here. Hi, girl. It's the hesitation that she's like, so her hearing, I've been doing tests. She's good. She doesn't come to me when she doesn't come to me, because pretty much 100% of the time she's chewing on a bone. So I'm working on, like, you bring the bone to me, let me investigate, make sure we're good, and then you can go off and chew it again, but come to me. So that's the new thing I'm working on. But when you call her, you could just see it in her. I wish I could have got that on camera. Come here. I wish I can get it on camera. She's right there. Come here. I know. We're not doing that right now. We're in the main field right now on purpose. Because I want the chick to go back there. For whatever reason, the chickens are right here. So you can see how she looks and what I got to do. But she freezes. And she freezes when I say, come here. Ophi, come here. When she freezes in a way of like, I'm not going to listen to you. And it's long enough to just get in my feelings to just, come here, girl. We're going to work on this down here for a second. Get down. Ophi, get down. Yep, do that. Yep. No, do the down thing. We're working on it. I know you may not know it out here. There you go, chew on that. I don't care. Do something other than what you're doing. But she freezes, like, because this is what the Great Pyrenees does. He does it almost 100% of the time when I call him back. It's that, like, not to say I don't want to listen to you, but like, I got something I have to do. And that's that, in that stance that I've got to realize it's not the dog's fault. It's not the dog's problem. Each one of these are different. Where the Border Collie, I call him, this dude's like, oh, sharp, he's freaking on it. But it's just the differences of how they are and what they're all about and what they're used for, that we have to be able to understand that. And once you understand it, then that's where more knowledge you have, the more you're going to be able to work with what you're working with, and not get into that I'm frustrated, I'm mad, why is it acting like this? My other dog didn't act like this. Why is this one acting like this? Why is this one doing this like this? And we'll start to understand more why this dog, when he sees said potential threat, we're close to home. I can say, Shadow, all done, let's go home. But if I'm out here and there's a dog up in the fence, he's going. And there's no recall on this dog, because he has to do what he has to do. That's in him. That's like, it's who he is. And then for me to like slap an e-collar on him to tell him, to force him to say to come back, we're going to be butting heads, where I'm not understanding who the dog is and what the dog is and what they're all about. Because that's what she's doing. She's focused on what a lot of research that I've done with, I'm standing this way. She doesn't want anything walking in my direction. Like, she wants things out here, cool. Because let's see, there's a chick coming right there. Let's see what she does. More than likely, she's not going to really mess with the same way that I'll have to call her back 3 or 4 or 5 times. But when there's something in front of me, she's like, I got to get that out of the way. I got to get it out of the way. That's just programmed in her. That's what she represents. That's the type of dog that she is. Whereas like the Border Collie, he's about getting stuff out of here or putting it in the corner. But mainly he's all about just getting stuff out of here. Let me put it back over there. I don't want you over here. For me to try to take that out of that dog, that's where the foolishness is really going to start to happen. So for me, I just have to really understand that most cases, the dog is not doing anything wrong. We just have to coach the dog to do what it is that we're looking for in the way of working with who that dog is and what that dog represents. And that's where you're going to find real results. That's where a lot of people, you may have a nice dog, but you can't communicate that to somebody else. The only way that you can is under control, is under just extreme control. Extreme control. The first thing anyone does with this dog is let's just slap a collar on it. Let's slap something on it. The dog can't be off leash. I need an e-collar on it. You're quick to all of that, as opposed to understanding what the dog represents. And then I can work with it. I can work with her. I can let her know, right now we don't need to worry about who's walking in front of me, who's around. Right now I get him. He'll eventually get much better, but he's in his ways, man. He's in his way of, I got to get that threat out of here. And he's assessing the situation, and he's not wrong. When a dog is over there, that dog he's hostile. He's hostile towards this side over here. He's hostile. He's barking at us. He's a little intense. But mine are also a little intense because he's a little intense. So for him to go there and me to punish him for getting a real threat out of here, that's going to be so confusing to who he is. I can work him to get him to like understand how to be able to work with him with that, to get him to get into a better place. But I'm not going to come in and strip him of that, because that's the first thing that we do. That's the first thing that I realize that we as humans are struggling with when the dogs are said disobedient. We're trying to strip away who that dog represents. That's why I can't come in day one, moment one, and say, hey, you're good. The dog is wrong. No, the dog is right and you're wrong. That's why we're battling, getting worse and worse and worse. We're just getting more and more and more, just trying to lay on the dog. It starts off every progression. This is the progression. I hear from hundreds and hundreds of people, not thousands yet, but I promise you at some point in my life, I'm going to hear this thousands of times. My dog was this, and I started giving him treats to try to get him not to something. And then what starts to happen is the treats aren't working. So just straight say, she's trying to go off and chase these, she's not really chase them. She just pushes them, make them move faster. She's trying to get things out of the way. What did I do? I came in with what I would say is force, get down. Then I said, oh, give her praise, and give her a, I don't know, she just found a bone. What I would say is I'm distracting her from wanting to worry about that right now. Now, here's where the problem starts to happen. If she tries to go and run after those chickens without me being able to, like, I would say it just like that, distract her to say, do this instead, and then I come in with just correction and punishment, that's where you start off with, you're using the treats. Because I already know, like, this is going to work because this is why I could do this today, because of what I've been doing and giving it months and months and months of understanding. If I come in and try to get her to not chase those chickens with treats, what starts to happen is the treat doesn't become as valuable. The chicken starts to become more valuable at some point. And once that chicken starts to become more valuable, that's when the treat doesn't work. What's the next step? Now I need to use leash pressure. What's the next step? Now I need something of a corrective style leash pressure. What's the next step? And you just keep going more and more and more into punishment, as opposed to the dog actually paying attention to you and listening to you to be able to get what it is that you're looking for. Why won't she? Because there's been a few that walked past since so far and she's chewing on thing. Why would she start to disengage? Because she knows that, for one, I'm not going to punish her. And for two, she understands what we're doing here. Because I keep showing her this over and 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 over again. And I'm patient. And I'm willing to be patient. I'm willing to just keep working at it, to be able to allow that excitement to just settle down and go away. Day one, I got her out here, I couldn't even stand here with this dog. She would have been gone. Just gone. The hint of anything moving, she would have been gone. But because we keep doing it over and over and over, that's the part that things start to get good. Because I understand who she is. And I understand what she's looking for, what she desires. And that's going to be able to build our bond to be able to, for her to want to say, listen to what it is that I'm asking from her. And I don't care. In reality, this is the part where someone is like, you want your dog to look a certain way. I don't want mine to be said perfect in any way, but I want them to be able to understand what it is that I'm asking for from them. And that's the hardest part, to be able to explain to someone else if you're looking at it in a way of, how do I fix the dog and don't worry about the human? I got to fix myself. Right there, a year and a half, 2 years ago, man, this dog, a year and a half ago, she would have been had an e-collar on her. She would have just been getting just stemmed like 50, 100 times a day, over and over and over and over and over and over and over, just over and over and over again. Because me, in my brain, I'm right. I know what I'm saying to you to do. I don't want you to do that, but you're still doing it. And I would have looked at her like she's wrong. And that would have just made, it wouldn't have worked out, because that's why majority of people, they still have to keep doing that forever. Even though they say it fades away, but you're still having to do that forever. You can't just dance around anywhere and be able to just communicate something to your dog to get them to stop doing something. You have to come in with the corrective. As soon as you start corrective things, you have to keep correcting it. That's just what it is. Why? I didn't create this. It is what it is. And that's what people really need to understand. That there's some people that are here because they actually enjoy doing what they're doing, and they want to get other people as inspired about what it is that they have to be able to get you in a good place. And there's other people here that are just doing it because they just want to get paid right now, man. They just want it. They want that money. There's money in this. There's money when you're doing it in a way of coming in and fixing the dog and not fixing the human. When I come in and I fix the dog, that's $3,500, $5,500 a family right there, guaranteed payment, guaranteed. I show up, I knock on the door. You're already, because this is, people already expect that. They already know that. They look at my website. They're looking at everyone else's website. They're calling some people up. It's instant. I knock on that door. You know you're about to write a check for $3,500 minimum for me to like do anything with this dog. And that's the minimum needed to work on the dog. But for me to come in and actually get you real help to work on you, that's for most cases, a free consult. At some point, I'll start charging for that because I am traveling, but I'm doing all right still right now to be able to do what I got to do. So a free, me explaining to you, stop worrying about the dog being wrong and start worrying about what am I doing wrong, and sit in that for a while. Sit in that and start looking at the dog. Start paying attention to what you're doing and sit in that. And most cases, almost 100% of people that I go to their house and say this to, they see a revelation. They're like, oh, I never even thought about it that way, because I'm able to see, and this is the part with me that it makes it fast for me to be able to see like the problems that are happening, because I can instantly see when the dog is doing something. I can see what you're doing. And I can say, oh, stop doing that. Stop doing that. Don't do that. And you stop doing these little things, and you see your dog just get into a way, way nicer place. You just see the dog just start to absolutely transform into what it is that you're actually looking for. But when you're still continue to keep doing what you're doing, and then I want to try to put pressure on the dog, you still keep doing what you're doing, this is where the chaos really starts. This is where the problems really keep going, because we didn't change what we were doing. And that's one thing that why I want everyone to just do a basic understanding of looking at your dog and wondering what your dog likes and what your dog is all about. And that's what's fascinating today about these DNA tests and stuff we can do for the dogs to actually figure out who the dog is. For me, personally, I don't need a DNA test. I just simply stick the dog on a leash and I see what the dog wants to do. And then I see what that dog wants to do, and then I'm like, okay, this is what you like. Okay, let's do this. Let's do this. Let's do this over and over and over and over again. And then the dog, it's not so exciting, it's not so amazing, and then it just becomes normal. That's why for her, I can simply, not perfectly, nothing's perfect, get her to disengage from wanting to push something away, because I let her do it every single day. Every day she gets a chance to, maybe not, no, yeah, every day she gets a chance to make, because there's no, she's pretty impressive. There's no chickens that walk in my driveway, period. If I'm outside, I don't even think they're on it, period, anymore. Because every time we would go up that driveway, she's getting them out of the driveway. They're all out of the driveway. So every single day, she's making sure the driveway is clear. Every day I go up the driveway, that's my morning time and evening time. That's our potty time. We go out, we run, and that's what they do. And she does that every single day. And at day one, man, she was chasing, moving, going crazy. And to the point today, months later, it's no longer, it's just, normal. She just walks, she literally walks next to my side now. She runs off to go potty and she just walks next to me the entire time up the driveway now. That's all she cares to do, because all that is out of there. All of it is done. And then me just standing here and just, one day I'll have to do it. I'll have to find a better spot because the chickens all come home. They're all in the field out here doing what they're doing, and they all start walking. And just so that she knows, when I'm standing still, you're off duty. Just hang out. Just relax. I don't need you to focus on that. Today it's a little bit. It's like a 4 in her. She had a I don't want to listen to you stance for a half a second. And then she said, okay, whatever. I'll come back. I'll hang out. And then for me, I'm happy that she just disengaged, but I actually said to come here, so I'm going to make sure that she comes all the way back. That's the pickiness that I have in my life with certain little things, but not everything. Certain little things. This is what I'm looking for. This is what I want. Oreo, this is what I'm looking for. You can bring it over here. You can go get it. That's the wrong word to use with you. Come here. Go get it means go get a hold on to something. You can go get that bone, man. You bring it over here. I don't care. I had a cow passed away last year, so he's buried over there, and they've got all the bones, and they just go and dig them out and chew on one here and there. That's kind of like their little thing that I like them to focus more on in this field than focus on anything else. Just let's go chew something. Let's just relax. Let's go and just be all good. I don't need to worry about anything. That's the parts of me that I set up to make sure that I got things safe. I don't need to know if my dogs aren't on the patio. I know I'm fine because I know what they're doing. I know where they're at. For almost 100% of the time, I know where they're at. I know what they're doing. I know exactly what they're doing. If I can't see them on their way around the corner somewhere doing something, I know what they're doing. Because all I do is I just sit, study, investigate, and watch to figure out what the dog's wanting to do, what the dog is looking for, what the dog is desiring. And that's the last thing that, unfortunately, most people are doing today. You're worried about what you're doing so much, and you just want everything else to just follow you, and that's the way life needs to be. And that's just not the way it works. The dogs will follow us. Heck yeah. Oh yeah, they're going to follow everything that we're looking for. But it starts with us giving to them what they need to want to follow us. That's the part. They have to want to. It's their option. They don't have to pay attention to you. It's their option. And once you are using that in the healthy manner of properly having a good relationship with the dog, as opposed to controlling the dog is going to do much, much more in that stance of wanting to take your leadership, as opposed to you having to keep fighting for it. And that's what most people, unfortunately, you're getting with their dogs is you got to fight for it. That's why your dog always has to have this corrective collar on to be able to do anything for you, to do anything. You always have to have a treat on you to get your dog to do anything, because they're coming in a way of corrective measures to convince the dogs to want to stay with us, as opposed to just explaining to that animal why it should want to be there. And it should want to be there because, for one, you're the world's greatest person to that dog. But most cases, we're not. And that's why the dogs are looking disobedient. It's got nothing to do with that dog. It's got everything to do with us. And once I really 100% understood that for my own self, that's when I started seeing things with everything of mine look much better that I don't need to worry about. I don't need to worry about. And it's interesting what I'm able to see here that, most people, y'all have no idea. But I do, because I live here every single day, and I've seen the progression of what's going on with all these animals. Is I couldn't do what I'm doing right this second. Months ago, I couldn't do anything what I'm doing right this second. I couldn't just, Johnny, Oreo, I couldn't just simply have these dogs come to me like this. I couldn't simply just have this dog hang out over here. I couldn't do it. I couldn't do it. I couldn't do it. They would be gone. They would be on the move. They would be on a mission. That's why all of my first videos, they may look good because I have the dogs in the stays all the time. It can look good. It's like, oh, you got good control over those dogs. But as soon as I said free, chaos, man. There was just stuff everywhere. Everything was just a hot mess. The average person, you watch me, you don't know, but I know, I see it. And that's the part with me that I want to be able to give people that. And that comes down to me understanding that I have things that I need to work on. And when it comes down to that, that's for me to inspire you, to want you to say, like, be a better dog person, dog handler. Not just look at it like it's just a dumb, stupid dog, but look at it for what it is, an incredible animal. Incredible. When your dogs are, like, what I want to say is functioning real nice, and you're in flow with them, moving with them, they are incredible animals. They are just phenomenal animals to be with. Chickens and pigs and all that, they're pretty cool. Even horses are pretty cool. But dogs are just something extra about them, something extremely fascinating about them. They are just an incredible thing to just want to be around. And it's only that way when stuff is like you're actually able to work with the dogs. But when you're fighting with them, man, your house is chaos. Chaos. Thank you. Hey, Offie. Yeah, she get here perfectly fine. Come here. If she's chewing a bone, come here. I know that look. I got you. Because she does. She freezes up and she just stares at me like she's thinking it through. Like, should I listen to this guy or should I just keep doing what I was doing? And this is the part with me, how there's my understanding, and I explain this a lot. Offie, I explain this to a lot of folks, how to figure out to get that recall better is if they don't come back, go figure out what they're doing. Don't like holler at them, yell at them. Don't even use the word no. Don't do none of that. Just go see what it is that they're doing. Go figure it out. And once you figure that out, because my favorite is to go to the dog and just look at them and just say, oh, okay. And then I take a step back, call them. They pretty much always come to me in that moment, just pet the dog and then just walk away from that to figure out why. This is the thing. They're not listening to you because they're disobedient. They're doing something that is just in them, that's programmed to do. They're in the moment that they're just like, I got to do this is what I have to do. And they're just doing it. So it's I don't like using this, but it's the best way of putting it. They're like pre-programmed to already just do things. So they're just doing it. And they're not even like, this is the part where it starts to get confusing with how I'm starting to really understand dogs and what are they. They're not consciously doing things. They're just doing it. So if you're trying to like get mad upon a dog that is just not consciously is just doing something out of just reaction, you're not going to win this battle by trying to react on top of their reaction. You have to figure out what's going on to figure out how to break that habit. They have a habit of doing things. And we have to come in to be able to explain to that dog, like, I know you think you need to do that, but I don't need you to do it. You could do this over here instead. And then a dog finds a new habit and it's like, oh, that's easy. That's fine. And it's usually something very similar to what it is that they were doing. And that's how you're able to like really communicate, I feel like, to be able to get the dogs to understand what it is that we're looking for. Now, a lot of things that I've really changed from is realizing the dog is not disobedient. The dog doesn't know what the heck is going on. It's a complete blank slate of just blankness. It doesn't know anything. So anything that the dog is doing is because, for one, I told the dog to do. That's the best case to really get you fast-tracked help. Your dog's jumping on you because you told your dog to. I don't care what you're verbally out of your mouth saying. You did something, you made something happen to say to that dog, this is what I want. And then when a dog is doing anything, it's because we are explaining to him to do that. That's where we have to now consciously come in and say, what are we going to do here to get you to do this over here instead? And that's, to me, a beautiful way to be able to really just look at life in general. They're not being disrespectful to you. They just don't know. We're humans, humans are just crazy sometimes. Who knows why? Who knows what the heck's going on with what it is that we do? But sometimes we just be jealous and envious and revengeful and all these things that we just sabotage. We do weird stuff as humans. But I just don't see that in a dog. There's other animals that are interesting. Like one that I'd like to get my hands on is, for one, a coyote. Two, a wolverine. The wolverine, I believe, is the one that is just fascinating. They're a very interesting creature. But these dogs, they're not trying to do something to get back at you. They're just doing stuff. And once you really understand that, man, you are going to like excel like crazy with having the dog that you're looking for in weeks, not even. Like days, you're gonna start to see the dog that you're looking for. The dog isn't just messing up because it's just, oh, I'm a dog and I don't like you and I'm just gonna be mean to you right now. No, the dog is just doing what's going on. And worst case scenario, the dog is being said disobedient because you are being disobedient to it. And once you stop doing that, you're gonna start to see the little things start to shift and change. And those little things are what spark you, inspire you to like want to keep going more. And that's the little things that I would want to be able to explain to you, that it's amazing to be able to work with these animals. And I'm not here to take something from you or make you get on my program and my system and my style. No, I want you to have your own. But the one thing I want everyone to understand is, where are the problems here? And once we figure out that problem, we can move on to do something great. And in reality, this is why I believe it's interesting. I don't know how this works across the board. I don't know if there's any statistics out there, but a lot of people that are with a lot of animals and stuff, usually, and they can keep the animals all peace and all calm and everything's good and everything looks nice, they're gonna raise up children a little bit differently because they understand the concept of, for one, the responsibility of patience and time and being calm and being compassionate. They're gonna understand all that, but there's just something that is just powerful about understanding that no 2-year-old kid is doing something just because. It's doing something because of something that we are doing to it, so it has to do what it has to do. But if we come in with a different way, the kid is going to show us something different, and because that's how animals work. There's no way. There's no. I see. I've seen this so many times. People. I walk into so many households, and I'm pretty good at reading the room of seeing what's going on. But I can see like the husband, wife, and then the kids. And then most cases when the dog is like acting a fool, the kid is acting a fool. In most cases, when someone's like, I got a new dog and I'm unsure, I just want to make sure, and I can see the kids and stuff, and I can see the old dog's good, I'm like, everything is fine in this household. Just you got a little nervous, probably because you saw a video or saw something that got you nervous and you're just wanting some help. But when I see a really, really nice looking dog, I see, weird as it is, like pretty calm, chill, amazing looking kids. Looking. I don't get to live with everyone 24/7, but just I'm pretty good at reading the room. And I see this kind of just go hand in hand. And it's a very, very interesting thing for me to pay attention to. What's up, Johnny?